Welcome to Natural One's Bardic Inspiration, the podcast. And we are on episode 5, or actually 6.
Well,
I mean, it was like 4.5.
yeah, we list the other 1.5. This is coming out as episode 5.
It is coming out as 5.
That's how we'll write it.
It's going to get weird. Eventually, we'll be on episode 70, and we'll actually be on like
100.
we'll have a bunch of
We'll have
0.5s.
2 centennial episodes in that case.
We celebrate everything. Anyway, welcome back. I'm glad
5,
to be back.
That's it, right? We made it.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
I did say we were ending at
This
5.
is it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So don't expect anything else from this point forward. The other podcasts that come out afterwards, it's going to just be silent.
Yeah, nice to know you.
Don't even listen. It's going to be weird, though, just listening to silence.
Just 45 minutes of silence.
It gets weird because we'll eventually occasionally add in like a whisper or jump scare.
Yeah, we've already recorded most of them.
Good point. Silence is really easy to maintain. Anyway, but seriously, guys, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, that means that you are somewhat invested in this. Right? Because it's not like most people start on episode 5.
If you're still listening, you're a real weirdo that likes listening to 2 dweebs.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many podcasts out there. Everyone has a podcast.
Yeah.
Like about everything.
Yeah.
I listened to this podcast the other day, and I don't know why I did. And it was literally just some guy reviewing different things. And I was just like, I don't care what this guy's saying, but he has like a really good voice. So it just kind of was like, it just sucked me in, man.
Shamalama ding dong.
Maybe we should start talking.
Our soulful. Welcome to D&D.
This summer. D&D.
Two nerds.
One recording studio. No, I think that people, at least at this point that are listening, are, either bored with things or just, I don't know, it's like I'm insulting them.
Well, I think if you're listening, you're probably a creative.
Or somewhat invested in the channel already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you are, and you just kind of like hanging out with us, thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you more than you could possibly understand.
Seriously.
I mean, I've said a few times, and this is going to take a little serious note. We're going to jump back to the funnies, but I mean, I have really bad anxiety. This is something that most of the followers know. I just get super like down and depressed out of nowhere. I can't control it. But this is like an outlet for me. So even if there's like 2 people listening and it's us. Wait, no, at least one other person. If it was just us, it'd just be sad. But if there's at least one other person, for me, it's just...
Sometimes I force my wife to sit down and listen. Does that count?
Yes. What? I'm just kidding. But seriously, we appreciate y'all, guys. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And I know that's just a thing that everyone says, but we truly, truly are like... I'm amazed that there's like 15, 20, 30, now 80 on the first one. And this is funny because it's going to date us because like years from now when we have like episode 622 when we're actually on 1,000.
Yeah.
We'll look back and be like, yeah, 80, woohoo. But it's a starting point, man. It's so hard to start.
Seems like those episodes, those ones that go a long time, you can't find the first episodes of them.
I'm going to try and make it super obvious, all over the place. Episode 1, like have arrows pointing at it.
Right.
Big red circles, like those.
Do you want to get the worst of us? Here you go.
Those episodes you don't want to listen to because you're more interested in the higher quality content that they're creating now when you find an episode.
Right. That's exactly what I mean.
No, seriously, I listen to a few podcasts now and I'm just like, I'll like listen to the 175th or whatever. And then I'll be like,
you go back to 1.
I really like these guys. I'm going to listen to 1. And you get to 1 and you're like, I'm going to have to really drudge through this for a while to get to the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Seems like you usually go about 15 episodes before people hit their strides.
Sure. We hit it at 2, so we're fine.
Yeah.
That's what we're ending.
We're at full swing right now, baby.
All right. But anyway, so you did the podcast last week. How was that?
It was awkward.
I mean, I edited it, so I know how it went.
Yeah. It's pretty weird to sit there by yourself and talk into a microphone for about an hour.
You're just like, so...
I have thoughts, and I'm going to share them. That's kind of what it feels like.
I'm just going to talk into this microphone.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Expose all my inadequacies to the world.
And the funny thing is when you're with someone else, you can fill in the spaces.
It's nice to sit back and think about what you're going to say for a second.
And have someone that you can talk to
those
rather
impregnated awkward pauses.
where you're just like, so, then I'm going to talk about this now. Don't worry,
next thing,
man. If you listen to my early lives when I started the YouTube channel, it was like that.
Yeah.
They're all like that.
Yeah.
Anytime I do a live by myself, 100%. It's what happens, and they get it. Those that have problems with it, it's just like whatever. Get over it. Skip the episode if you hate it.
Right.
But that's for people that really want to do character creation. I love the characters you came up with.
Yeah,
We're gonna find a way to put them in
They're
there.
gonna be fun. I mean, even if they're not in any way related to main quest, running into those guys is gonna be super interesting.
We're gonna have fun ways
Yeah.
to. We're gonna do more of those, obviously together, a lot of them. But if I can't, I wasn't here.
Right.
We tried.
What we're gonna do when we get together is roll up the big guys, the important NPCs.
Yes.
I
And
was
do you
going
know
super
how
micro
hard it
on
was
those.
to even get here right now?
Right.
Both of us.
Yeah,
you don't
it's,
even know.
It's
guys.
10 p.m. on a Saturday, and we both had
There's just. I mean, we tried to do it yesterday.
for 3 days in a row. We've tried to get together
Yeah.
to do this. Yeah, it's
I tell you,
actually since Sunday. We were talking about getting together Sunday last week, and here we are
Life
Saturday 10 p.m.
just does this,
Yeah.
man. So I mean, the fact that this is getting out to you, and we joke about ending, but like seriously, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna find a way to get this to you, come hell or high water.
Some weeks will be harder than others.
And sometimes we'll have to backlog a couple because life just kind of does that. Anyway, so this week in D&D isn't like a new thing. I mean, these guys have been around for years. I'm talking about incarnate.com, and that's incarnate with a K. That makes
Yes.
a difference, just in case you're wondering. Search
we
engine
tried it with a
optimization.
C. You cannot find them very easily.
I told him to type in incarnate, and he's like, all right. I'm like, don't do it. You're doing it wrong. And yeah. Anyway, so incarnate. And I think they did it because ink is in the beginning. Anyway.
Makes sense.
They are a map maker. And by the way, not sponsored. I just want you to know. This is just my honest 100%. I love these guys. I mean, they've created such a beautiful tool. By the way, free to use. You just have to sign up. And it's fantastic. You can build your own fantasy world. You can I mean, obviously, a lot of us want to create our maps. We'll get out the sketch paper and the pads and try to figure everything out, but it's daunting. Sometimes you don't know what to do, and at least I didn't when I started. And I made my own map, and I painted it with watercolor. That's how desperate I was, and I'd never really done it before. It was okay.
Watercolor is a tricky medium.
Yes, especially because land masses suddenly formed into other land masses because things dripped.
Well, hey, if you wanted to have a God-created landmass, there you have it.
He just spit and sneezed on it. Which is pretty much probably how this world ended up. Anyway, but Incarnate, though, like, seriously, check them out. They're free. But I highly recommend the $25, because you can do like $5, what was it, like a month or something like that. But there's like a $25 tier. You could just do it for a year. And you just sign up every year. And it's pro. What I mean by pro is that you're getting, obviously there's the free stuff, but then there's just like all these shaders and like a ton more things you can place on the map. And I do very minimalist apps as well, maps as well, but I really like the detailed ones you can do. I made water deep in one of mine, just as a challenge. Someone told me, hey, try doing water deep, and I did it. And I looked at the maps previously, and I tried to do my own like rendition of it, and I did it with Incarnate, and it was awesome. So I couldn't recommend them enough. Truly, if you're looking to make a quick
Is this
map,
something you can do from a mobile device, or is it all PC?
I tried. Mobile isn't quite optimized enough. They don't have like
have it. It's just more of like
you
a
can
beta.
sign in. It's just it's a bit wonky.
So you're using a browser to try to use their service
right.
to get into it. I see.
They may have something. I don't know of it yet. Like I said, I'm not sponsored. They haven't got me stuff to read or anything. But I personally, I love it. So if you're looking for something like that, we want to give you little tips of what's going on.
If you're a DM, save yourself some hassle.
No kidding. You can color it in seconds.
Yeah.
Well, I literally will do this. I will immediately cover the map in the shovel tool that will immediately put in the land. I will then shade all the blue to like the ocean, like a really pretty blue. And then I'll put in little bits of random land, one chunk here, little chunk here, huge amount here, little amount here, and then I'll shape it. I will get it smaller, and then I'll start putting trees. I'll start putting mountains, and before you know it, I'm like sitting there. Ooh, this would be a cool place to have a quest that goes into here, and like it makes my mind just come alive. Sometimes, if I'm not even doing anything, I just make a map. Anyway, so we're not here to just talk about them, but I really wanted to give them a good shout out. I know they don't need my help, especially because we're like this tiny little thing. But like if one of you is like, oh my gosh, I was looking for a map maker, there you go. It's for you. Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Check it out.
Yeah. Anyway, today What are we talking about?
We're setting tone. We are going to build out a city.
Yeah, city, regions,
Region.
just kind of feel how a biome, different biomes would react to this world. Because a lot of people will ask the question like, okay, so what is it like? And if you listen to episode 1, which I assume you did since you're here, you know what we rolled. It was Conan based, Lord of the Rings. We really let heavily on the Lord of the Rings bit, but today we want to focus more on because we have our own ideas. It's not just going to be 100% exactly Lord of the Rings or Conan or whatever.
Right.
We want it to feel
That's just a
100% our
starting
own.
point.
It was.
Yeah.
And this is what we're trying to prove with world building. You can take something like that and make it 1,000 times your own and better because it's just you have to just mess with it. So, what would you say? Let's just pick a random biome. What about a snowy area? What would that be like?
Like a tundra.
Like a tundra. People that live up, think of like a Siberia, Russia, or Canada. People that live in the northern regions, assuming north.
What comes to mind is the Icewind Dale trilogy.
Okay.
They are in the frozen tundra, especially the barbarians there.
Oh, true.
And
This is part of Faerun, right?
This is Faerun. This is the series following Dristordan. For those of you who are familiar,
Which, by the way, you should read those books.
especially Homeland. But Icewind Dale he wrote first, and then he went back and wrote Homeland. But Homeland chronologically happens first. Anyways, so tundra-based barbarians means that
Cold.
They
Skins
are
of animals.
hunters. Yeah. So probably anything that happens ecologically is going to be, or economically is going to be trade-based, hunting, furs and skins and all of that.
And I think we decided that this world outskirts is very Conan. That's how we kind of tied that in. Obviously there's some factions, and I personally think, because if you think about if it was like Lord of the Rings, and I know I literally said that we're going to kind of lean something else, but if you do try to bring in that into this, which we're trying to do as well, there's those factions like Gondor and Rohan. They're very much their own.
Right.
Individuals. They're not under him, but they're definitely like Sauron. I'm talking about. They're like, and just like this would be veneration. There's definitely got to be some factions that are strong to hold back against, like, hey, we're not joining whatever this council is, But then there's got to be some that are just like, they have to be, like they don't have a choice. But the bigger nations, let's say, so there's like one big nation. Let's just do one to make it simple.
Sure. Yeah.
And maybe there's like sub cities, but I think if we're doing like a tundra region, maybe there's.
So are you implying that maybe the tundra would be a good resistance area?
Yeah, cold is good versus steel.
Right.
And also bionic
Rocks makes things brittle.
Yeah. So I was thinking that could be a cool place for. I mean, if your characters.
Hoth.
By the way, yeah, we did talk about how, there's going to be pockets of resistance, and that's kind of where you can start. And we're not picking one spot. I mean,
right.
episode 0, we did talk about that. If you saw that episode, listen to it. You'd know that we're kind of leaning towards. We're going to make a few. And you can kind of pick one, whatever your characters are more into.
Right.
If your backstories fit it better. So Tundra, this would be a fun one because let's do that. Let's talk about the different starting areas that you could start in.
Well, I mean, one of our characters is from a vast grassland, the one that we rolled up last week.
Let's do that one too.
Yeah.
So okay, let's start Tundra first then. So I imagine like yurts, like huts, like tents made out of skins of animals, very tribalistic.
Definitely. We could even go like Inuit, igloos.
Yeah, how big would these societies be? Because that's a lot of mouths to feed.
Probably not very big.
Individualized.
Because if you're talking about tribal,
tribes
don't survive in large groups.
No,
there's too much fighting and competition and.
Okay, let's say that's obviously the mountain tribes and things like that. Those are gonna definitely be in there. But what about the more civilized, like a Russian type city?
So something like Siberia.
I mean, it's cold all the time in those northern regions. Yeah. Like obviously St. Petersburg, Moscow. It's always pretty much like under like constant.
You'd
cold.
be surprised. Like Ekaterinburg is like same climate as us almost.
Right.
I mean, it's
But I'm talking about like some place that snows like a
It's-
good portion
yeah.
of the year.
Alaska.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Northern, obviously, anywhere northern, like
Sun's
Canada.
always up.
I mean, like think about like Quebec or something. Just like okay,
Right.
so let's say there's cities, medieval type cities. Obviously, we're not talking futuristic, even though we're mentioning our time. We're just kind of equating it to it.
Right.
Let's say, what would they be doing? Like, what is their life like?
So what you really have to wonder is what is their environment? So I mean, do they have access to lakes and fish? Like what's their access to food? Who controls the power, and why?
I would say with the map that I made, there's a good. Hold on, let me find that. Oh, it's right here. There's a good little section that's in the northern areas, and I feel like, and I'll show this to you too.
So would we want to talk about something that maybe covers near sea?
There's a kingdom of Moljad that I made. There's a city called Traston that's by a lake.
Okay.
And I was thinking this whole area up in the north, it's kind of hard to see right there, but this whole area up in the north is going to be cold.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to kind of hold it. Anyway,
Yeah,
we're
so
looking at the
there's
Instagram. By the way, if you're following Instagram, Natural One Official. Most of you are coming from there anyway. But anyway, it's one of my most recent posts. Anyway, it's I feel like that would be good because it's a cold area. It is more civilized. I'd say it's a pretty large city. I haven't set in stone anything.
So yeah, let's look at that. So I'm just pulling up the Dungeon Master's guide because it does have some small amount of help there.
yeah.
How many people would we want to say live here? Are we talking about a city with a population up to 25,000?
I would say about 25 is a good amount.
So that's pretty big,
Yeah, and I'm saying most of it's done
especially for an
fish.
ice town.
Think about Lake Town. That seemed pretty miserable in The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Like look at the movie. I'm talking about
Oh,
the
yeah,
movies.
yeah.
A
Slummy,
lot of
yeah.
people hated the movies. I liked them because I'm a huge Tolkien fan. And some people are like, "Well, if you're a huge Tolkien fan, you would have been upset about that." No, I honestly wasn't. I thought it was great.
Right.
I had a great. Was it mostly CGI and not practical effects or whatever? Yeah, but you know what? I still liked it.
Yeah, yeah.
So Lake Town. Think about it. Maybe it could be like Lake Town.
Okay.
Let's say that most of their food comes from fish.
Lake Town's probably
This is a huge
under
lake.
1,000 people.
Traston,
So
this lake, this area
So-
is huge, and it has a massive rivers coming towards it. I have it listed off to the side, but we could easily just move that dot.
would this be like, so we're talking about tundra,
make it
so this is
interesting.
like an ice lake
Yeah.
that they could literally live on top of if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just drill into it if they wanted to fish.
I would say in the center, I would say it's broken up pretty much. But like
Okay, so they're
a
not
thin
building
layer.
on it.
I'd say it's kind of floating almost,
Okay.
just like Lake Town.
So like they've got like 3 inches of ice on there.
A good amount.
yeah.
In most of the like winter months, very much so.
Yeah.
During the summer months, it's beautiful.
Okay.
It's cold. It's not like cold, but you know what I mean.
It's not necessarily like ice and snow cold.
You would
but it
never
is.
really want to swim in the water.
Because tundra, if we're talking about tundra,
It's all
there's
year.
permafrost. Yeah.
Yeah, and that I would say to the north, obviously, that's where the tribes live. 100%.
Okay.
Like mountainous, just dangerous. I mean, people that go up there would be, and even you could start there. I mean, it could
Yeah.
be like, and then you make your way down to Traston.
Yeah, if you did like a group of barbarians or
I think
something.
that would
Yeah.
be so cool. That would be a fun way to start.
Yeah.
And tundra can be beautiful, and it could be like
Well, yeah.
a pet polar bear.
It's basically, yeah.
Like a druid
It's
would have a
basically an
fun
ice
time.
desert. I mean, it's.
Yeah, exactly.
In essence.
100%. Except you can drink the
Yeah.
surroundings.
And
Slowly
you can also
difference.
turn into your surroundings.
That's very true. You find a lot of those.
Yeah.
Popsicles. So,
Look, Dad.
okay. Well, I could see Traston being a good place.
So a 25,000 person population
Yes.
in Traston.
Mostly fishing. Because it's a huge lake and
So
it has an inlet.
we would have nobles living in this city.
100%.
Um,
Maybe a couple. Kind of shady. I imagine much like Lake Town,
could
where
have
it's
like a
just
lord mayor, city administration,
I think at one
elected
point
city officials.
it was a kingdom. I mean, it's
Okay.
still listed as a kingdom of Moljad,
Uh-huh.
but technically it's under the council.
Okay.
Because I feel like I think we should pick one of these places to be
Somebody
free.
from the council would have to be the mayor, if that's kind of like what we're talking about, or the Lord. I mean, whatever. It's
Someone who's control like a puppet.
okay.
Like maybe he's just like given up. Maybe he's like a drunk. He just doesn't
Okay.
really care.
So he's not really in power. He's just kind
He's just the head. He's a visual representation of power.
from veneration.
Yeah. What he
from the keepers,
knows
the
is
council.
that he's supposed to just keep them in line. Keep
Okay.
them doing what they're doing. Make sure the sentries are taken care of. Magic users, making sure that everyone's just doing a job.
So, in the eyes of the council, this city is under their control.
In a way. And I don't want him to be like, because I love The Witcher. I mean, if anyone knows me, I love the conflict of good and evil and how so many times that can crisscross. And how the council may be trying to do the bad thing, but the council originally, if you were listening to the early episodes, were trying to do a good thing.
Right.
They weren't trying to do a bad thing. So I think in their heart of hearts, they're trying to make sure that peace is...
Any character in their own book, they're the hero.
Yes.
Right.
So true.
Yeah.
And anarchy is worse in many cases than a horrible dictator.
Yeah.
It's true. Look at societies that remove a dictator and what happens to society and its people. Man against man, woman against woman, family against family. It turns into bloodshed beyond reason.
Yep.
Just like an apocalypse, like when you watch any of like the TV shows, the movies, or read the books or whatever of these horrible apocalypse. A lot of times power goes out and people murder each other within like a few days.
Right.
Anarchy, just because it's like, well, we have to get rid of a horrible man. If you don't replace it with something good, it destroys itself. So in this sense, he has to be a visual representation. The council probably does want him to keep control. Maybe he's just a horrible ruler and people are just kind of like miserable and cold and just were like, whatever, let's just keep doing what we do because let's keep alive. This place sucks, but it's ours. You know? Like, I think that could be the general vibe, you know?
So, are the council members still alive in this scenario? Is that kind of what we're thinking?
I think I would like them to be immortal.
I didn't think we'd discuss it, but
We
since
didn't.
it is kind of what's being brought up.
No, I think
so
that's a valid point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I kind of would like them to just be shells of
Okay.
their former selves, but they're
so
still
really
alive.
they're being controlled, but they have some semblance of
The way I thought of them was like ring wraiths, where they were the old kings.
Oh, okay.
And I was
okay.
thinking they would be kind of the same.
So are these council members also the keepers?
I think no.
Okay.
I think that I mean, maybe perhaps they can use certain powers from them. Like they can give a keeper like whatever skill they were good at. I don't know. That's kind of up in the air right now. I really would like to flesh that out a bit more, but I feel overall I'd like them to
Because
be
we are
alive.
just discussing power structures, you know.
Yeah,
It's,
I think if they were alive, that would be a cool. Maybe they just are very weak because veneration has basically drained them but kept them.
so kind of like they don't have a whole lot of willpower the way that they currently.
I feel like they're the buffer.
Sort of like why is his name not coming to me? King
Are you talking about Grima Wormtongue with Theoden?
Theoden. Yeah,
I love how I have no idea what you're talking about immediately.
yeah
Like,
I'm thinking about Theoden. Yeah, because he's basically a shell being controlled. You know.
well, 100%.
Yeah.
You look at that situation, book or otherwise, he is literally yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Theoden.
Yeah.
He is a powerful king. A man among men. People respect him beyond anyone else. Suddenly he falls ill. His son dies. He doesn't care. And it's just kind of like, to the world, he's just like apathetic.
Right.
But he's totally under a spell. I feel like the council is that same thing.
Yeah.
They are awesome people. They came together amongst this massive chaos, knowing they're risking their lives, because as soon as their people find out that they're betraying them, saying, we need to stop all of them. You know, like, and that's traitor. That's a traitor to like go against what you guys, you know, don't talk to that tribe, don't talk to that nation, you know, because that's horrible.
Yeah.
But they went against that, so they meant well.
Yeah.
Obviously, there were some that were more power hungry than others. Everyone has their own, you know, issues that they're dealing with.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, so we could just say they're essentially in a situation like King Theoden, the council members who, you know, in their own book, they're heroes.
Yeah, they were doing what they needed
Yeah.
to do. They needed to stop the massive all-out war.
But they're being controlled, and their
It went
control is branching out to the rest of the world.
Yeah, and he controls them. He absorbed them. That's how he was made. Like fully. Like where he got his power. So in this land, then
What other kind of power structures would be looking at in this city?
okay, so I think guilds,
Okay.
because guilds tend to be the biggest rulers. Think about it. The king. What does the king do?
Right.
Like, who is controlling the people? The people with the money
Right.
who are bringing people actual daily living. Guilds.
Yeah.
In this case, there could be a myriad of guilds. But what would be
Like
a
the
guild?
Microsofts and Amazons and
Yeah, exactly. The sub
Apples
the
of
sub rulers. Yeah, for sure. They run the country, but they don't.
right.
I mean, it's corporations down to it. There's a
Yeah, I imagine because if they're a fishing city,
yeah.
then that's somehow the guilds would all somehow have to revolve around that.
So there could be like a mariners guild.
Yeah.
There could be a and as boring as that sounds, like a fishing guild. That sounds messed up, like just boring. Why would you ever be a part of it? I
I
think
don't know. Have you ever seen Forrest Gump?
There's let's start listing all the shrimp. So the reason why I think taking a guild like that and making it something awesome would be fun.
Yeah.
I would love
Yeah.
to do that. I'll spearhead that one.
Right.
Because I can already see it. They're like these mercenaries. They're like, they protect against not just,
Well, it's more than fishing. Like,
it's fighting against the elements.
and it's controlling the city too.
There's also monsters in this world
yeah.
that like to hunt people. And in the snow areas, there's not much to eat.
And on a huge lake like that, there's gonna be some big things down in there.
Oh, yeah. I imagine this lake is huge,
Yeah.
like deep. And
Yeah.
it's like if you swam down there, there's like freaking kraken, like
Right, yeah.
something to that effect. Where,
Giant squid.
ooh, I already think of side quests already. Kraken priests start to appear on the side of the shore. They
Yeah.
start taking people hostage. Really like fun things that kind of like it came in from the ocean as a baby and grew into this massive creature in the lake.
Right.
Oh man, I'm already getting there.
We've got some rivers going to that lake or
Big
from the
ones,
lake,
big
both
ones.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like that could be a fun area to start in. And side quests galore.
Right.
Helping local lords, like you said, who's in control.
Yeah.
There could be local lords that are way better. That are like, they know not to go too much because people have been taken out. Like, oh, I'm going to be a better lord than that guy. Let me see what I can do. And they disappear. Or their house gets blown up, like completely eradicated and burned to the ground. And everyone's just kind of like, people would live in fear to a point. But at the same time,
yeah.
they're not large scale problems. Veneration's not going to show up and wipe out. It's not going to be a veneration event. But it's definitely going to be controlled.
Yeah.
But I feel like there could be lords who are trying to do well, who have old families that have been like helping the poor. There can be some thieves guilds that are just like classic seedy rat people. I mean, like they live in the docks.
Any kind of big city, especially like fishing.
I think mercantilism would be fine because I
Yeah.
feel like people would still want fish from this area. They get a ton
The
of
thing
it.
with large populations is you always find higher crime rates, so it makes absolute sense from like a real world perspective to have all kinds of seedy organizations,
Sure.
be it mobs or thieves guilds.
Yeah, and those are just natural things of cities.
Yeah.
Thieves guilds will be in every city.
Yeah.
It's just
Some people
The
like
way
to
it
take
is.
advantage of others, and
Yeah.
it's crappy, but
what
it
would
happens.
what would be their religion type thing? I mean, because that drives societies big time.
That's a good
What
question.
kind of god would they worship? Would it be like a ocean god, or would it be more like a god that would be more over success or luck, or maybe controlling the weather? I mean, like what do you
like
imagine?
a mercantilism or
Yeah, I feel like certain gods can't have that.
Yeah.
We haven't made the pantheon yet.
trade or luck or any of those aspects.
Maybe that's one encompassing god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trade and luck
Yeah.
is a very, very important thing. So, okay, so that would be kind of I could feel that being most of the gods worship.
Yeah.
Because I like to do like percentages. I'd say like 75% worship that god. Because it's like, I don't really care about anything else. I just want to feed my family.
Yeah, and I wonder if northern folk. I wonder if they're hardy. Are they?
I feel like Norse
could they be fighters? Could they be?
They have to keep up the
valuable to a military.
Imagine the raids that happen against them. They'd have to have some pretty good defenses during the winter, especially
if they're being raided from the barbarian tribes that are living more north of them.
I would say these people would look. Think of Winterfell. How the guards there are all dressed.
Yeah,
I imagine that.
I wasn't thinking Game of Thrones, but yeah, exactly. But like that. I mean? Though. There's people north of them that will attack them.
I would imagine they'd be like wildlings.
Yeah,
if you're thinking Game of Thrones universe, which honestly that would be a fun one to create.
Actually,
like that.
I was thinking of the Blade itself.
Yeah.
Joe Abercrombie. It's super intense book, but
but that kind of like during the winter, it's like, okay, get ready.
Yeah.
Because they're coming down from the north, they need food, and we have it. And obviously, there's probably people in the society, in the city, who want to help them.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to leave them food, offerings.
Maybe.
Why not? But like to an extent,
that could be like.
That'd be a fun quest. Try to be a ambassador to the people and bring them a load of fish. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we need you to do this mission.
Pay your respects to the barbarians.
You know what I mean? That would be cool because then you can actually travel to the north if you didn't start there, and it would kind of allow you organically to go to these places. Where most of the time as a DM, you're like, I don't want to railroad you, but if you go up there, it's pretty much you're gonna die.
Yeah,
it's just But like to a point, I feel like it'd be cool to. You take this shipment of fish up there and they're excited to see you, but there's definitely this like we're barbarians, like and you're civilized. Maybe they need to test your strength. One of your party members have to fight in an arena because we did talk about this off camera about camera. I say camera because that's the way I roll.
Yeah.
Ha. Puns. Anyway, I think that's
Mark's job.
Yeah, it is. Mark, we need to have him on this soon, like real soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I think that feels pretty fleshed out mostly to some aspect.
Well, I mean, so
it gives it a tone.
We could also talk about what does the defense of the town look like if they're constantly under threat of barbarian attack. Are they also under threat from the south, east, west? Or is it just the north? Do they line up a wall, or do they just welcome them in and say, "Here, take our crap, leave us alone"?
I think that part of the city is on land.
Okay.
I feel like that would have a wall.
Uh-huh.
At least a palisade, something with wooden sticks that sticks up sharp. That would just prevent people from climbing over.
So they just have a palisade.
Yes, something because they're not stonemasons.
25,000 people population.
But they're not stonemasons.
Okay,
they wouldn't be a very strong. They would gather.
So their defense would be to like get on your boats.
If it wasn't winter.
Yeah.
Which in the winter, I feel like most of the military of any sort would be on the shore. Because what would they be doing? I mean, because they were protecting it. Versus, like for instance. Like, what are they going to do if they come on the ice? You break the ice, stop them. You find a way, get the guys with the biggest warhammers and break the ice.
Yeah.
And they can't cross.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Wait.
Exactly. That's all they can do. And in that time, you have longbow archers just pop them off from afar.
It's true.
Do you think the barbarians have a bunch of longbows? Probably not.
Depends.
It depends on the bar. But I mean, like strategically, they can do things.
Yeah.
But if it's summer, I mean, it's like. To get some boats and come out there, but they're not as desperate during the summer.
Yeah,
because they have more hunting. It's less hibernation. I mean, that's kind of what I'm feeling. What do you think?
Well, 25,000 is pretty big. I mean, would we say that maybe less than a quarter of the population actually lives on the water?
Yeah, you could easily do that.
Yeah.
I think that could I mean, obviously, I don't want it to be just like Lake Town. I want it to be, there's definitely land.
Because a quarter of that population, you're talking about 5,000-6,000 people.
On water.
On water, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Good point. That would be humongous.
Right.
Of course, I mean, if you look at Lake Town, there's a lot of 2-story, 3-story buildings.
Yeah, and that's probably a town of a couple hundred, maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's so true.
Yeah.
So I feel like most of the city, you're right. Good
Yeah.
point. Then most of the city would be on land, but the biggest, most important hub would be on water.
Yeah, so I mean, we'd be talking about like lots of docks, and you could set up like maybe there's an inner wall around the important,
Sure.
homes
The main
and
stuff,
like
yeah.
the lords and the company headmen and all that stuff.
Right, and the guilds would mostly be out. Well, I mean, in the town, in the
Right.
main part. But I mean, in the water area, I imagine the lord would probably live there.
In the water?
No, because he probably feels safest.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he's surrounded by ice or
Thing
water.
is, though, you have multiple guilds going out in the water. They're probably pretty, I don't know, combative with each other, maybe?
Which would be fun.
Competitive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I would love that.
You could have competition on the water.
And like
between...
when I was talking about The Witcher earlier, the point that I was going to make, and I don't know if I ever made it, because we tend to do that, is that I love I think I did mention this, but the conflict between the good and evil, I did say that, but when I was thinking about it in this city, I think making a decision for the council or anyone, it would have. I would like because most of the quests I'm going to contrive and make. You're going to see both of our inputs here, and the ones that I make, a lot of them are going to have. You're doing this for somebody, like in this instance, these guilds that are kind of against each other. One choice isn't necessarily the best choice, and it also isn't the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I like something where it's like the witch is accused of killing people. You go to kill the witch because that was your quest. You find out the witch is an apothecary who's trying to help the people, but also has her own things in mind. So you could technically kill the witch and feel justified because she's still a witch and she's doing some pretty necrotic bad stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, she also has her intentions to do good in her way. So, I mean, you could technically, the villagers show up and be like, oh, did you kill her yet? And they're going to kill the witch. And you're like, you're in between as characters to decide, do I side with the people?
Right.
Do I side with the witch?
Right.
I mean, and I love quests like that because at the end of the day, you're like, I did something. What did I do? I killed the witch. How bad do you feel as a lawful good paladin?
Right.
Well, you killed someone who was a bad person.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're supposed to do as a paladin.
Right.
But I also was a good person.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you do that, it's more real because no one is inherently just a bad person.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There's a reason behind every villain.
That's one of the common issues I think with D&D is that things tend to be too black and white.
Which
like, that's the bad guy.
I don't
go
agree
kill him.
with.
Yeah,
I don't agree with.
Yeah.
My main bad guy in the first thing we ever played, like first thing I ever played with you guys, the world I made, was the Lich.
Yeah.
But he was a good guy. I ended up playing him in a personal campaign that we started years before he became the Lich.
Right.
And like he was just a sorcerer with wild magic, and dabbling into wizardry and stuff. But I mean, like, no one is trying to just do something bad.
Right.
There are the occasional psychopath.
Right.
That's like, I want to burn everything. I'm a Joker.
Right. And you see those come up in media a lot because they're interesting, but that's generally how people don't act. People don't act that way.
Tiny amount.
Yeah.
The Joker, for instance.
Yeah.
One of my favorite chaotic. I mean, he is just chaotic.
Right.
For the sake of being chaotic.
Yeah.
I mean, we barely know his backstory. Of course, there's the most recent movie of this time when, I mean, of like, and obviously, those are no spoilers here. It's just what you see from the preview, and I mean, you see his kind of backstory start, but before that, we didn't know what he did.
Right.
I mean, there's comic books, of course. I'm sure they talked about it, but
well, yeah, and there's so many versions of the Joker too.
Exactly, but the Joker that I think about is the Joker from the cartoon when I was growing up.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, Mark Hamill, 100%. I hear his laugh. I see him. He's just doing something funny that's evil because it's funny to him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care to kill Batman.
He just enjoys the chaos.
He kind of wants to,
Yeah.
but if he killed him, he would hate it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like with bad guys, they're not like that.
Yeah.
Most aren't.
Yeah.
So that's why in these quests that we're going to come up
Same
with,
thing with like
ideas,
multi-personality, and you don't run into that stuff very much in real life.
No, you don't. There's conflict within every bad person. I mean, look at Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
So much conflict. Like teenage drama conflict.
Sand between my toes.
I hate sand. I mean, there's obviously a lot more, but like,
It's
dang.
everywhere.
I mean, can we just get over the fact that most people aren't inherently just 100% evil?
Right.
Even, dare I say it, of Hitler. He probably thought he was doing a good thing. He was messed up mentally, 100%, and
yeah.
it's proven. But then there you go. Like, but they still are like, this is to help.
Right.
I mean, if you listen to his first speeches,
he thought
what
he was making the
talking
world
about?
a better place. Yeah.
He was talking about how horrible they've been treated, and everyone was like, yeah, we have been
Mm-hmm.
treated horribly. It wasn't us, it was the other guys that did this, and we're getting punished for this.
Yeah.
They were in the minority, and they destroyed the whole world, and we're the populace, and we didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's talking about how good we are. Let's listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, horrible things happened, like abysmally, just like just
Right.
disgusting. But
The worst things in human race that have ever happened.
exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm just saying, but every bad guy thinks most of the time that they're doing the right thing. Even if it's hard or horrible, they know it's horrible. You think that they don't realize
Right.
that killing a human in
They-
horrible ways is bad?
Yeah, the common argument is the means justify the end, or the
Ends justify the means.
Yeah.
Yeah, and any bad guy that we're gonna create, I think you and I both have that same mindset of bad guys, is that they won't just be, I'm twisting my mustache, going to blow up a town
Right.
because evil.
Yeah.
No, that's so cliche.
Yeah.
In most fantasy settings.
which, if it's a comedy, that's fine. But
And I know we're talking about something else, but it's,
vaudevillian, it's
one time, and I'm just gonna, and this is kind of on that same line, but steering further away from Tundra and world building and tone. But I feel like it sets the tone how we want to create our
oh
villains.
yeah, definitely.
So I once one of my favorite books is Dracula, Bram Stoker. Love it, and I love the adaptation that they did for film with Keanu Reeves and I think Anthony Hopkins and Winona Ryder. I mean, like all these different people were in it. Didn't necessarily love the movie. I didn't hate it, but I did love that they gave him a backstory.
Right.
More so, and it was that he had lost Mina, his version of her, Elizabeth, and it showed how he became this cursed creature. That he had fought the Turks and tried to save his people, and these evil priests were just like, "Oh no, he's dead." And she goes and throws herself off the tower, and he curses God because they were priests.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
God gives him vampirism or whatever that was like their idea of it.
Yeah.
because he killed the priest.
Are you
too.
you're talking about the new Dracula that just came out, or you're
No.
talking about the Keanu Reeves?
No,
one?
I'm talking about the old one.
The new one covered that really well too. I mean, that's what that movie
Luke
was.
Evans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Dracula Untold.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's
I know
really
it wasn't like huge. For
It didn't
people.
do super well commercially,
I don't
but it was
care.
it
Luke
was
Evans
very
is
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that too.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I saw it, and it was back in the day that was the first time I ever looked at a villain like, oh dang, you know what? He thinks he's doing the right thing.
Right.
And he just wanted to be with Elizabeth. That's all he wanted.
Right.
That's it. That was it.
Yeah.
And the priests were just like, oh no, he's dead. He's dead. And then he comes back and kills him because he's like, what the heck? I'm not dead.
Right.
And she just killed herself just now. And he becomes a vampire and then sees her on Jonathan Harker's necklace and like a picture of her.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, that's her. It
Yeah.
must be her in the future, like some kind of incarnate or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so like that's his whole mission, is to get her back.
Yeah.
And like for me, that was like this beautiful, like he's doing what he's trying to do from the beginning, just be with her. And how can you fault him for getting cursed?
Right.
I mean, yeah, he murdered people. It was horrible, but they were horrible people. And it wasn't like they deserved it, but that to him, it justified it.
Right.
And he would just wanted revenge, and he's probably going to kill himself right after that anyway. But he ends up being cursed to never die. And so he creates this world around himself because of the lusts and power that suddenly just get thrown at him. Can you blame a thief for stealing when they're hungry when they're children
Yeah.
and they grow up to be thieves because they never knew any different?
Right.
And it's that same mindset. It's the same thing with these villains that we're going to create. Veneration, same thing.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to have something that they're like, I need to do
It's
this.
a touch of the real world, enough to make them feel like they could have been actual people or based on actual people.
And I feel like that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I feel like that does set a tone. I want it to feel like The Witcher, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, all the great, like compelling stories.
More grit,
fused into a little bit more
character.
grit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. So, okay, I know we kind of strayed a bit here.
A little bit.
A little bit, but
That's-
it's not too far.
Yeah.
It's in the same realm.
It is. It's in the vein.
Yeah. So, all right, so Tundra, that we feel like we got that one. But what about like these grasslands for this other guy that you made? What
What's
would
that?
the grasslands? What would that
Grasslands.
look like to this for this guy, this barbarian you created?
So yeah, I mean the idea was that he came from a barbaric tribe, and their society, whether encouraged by veneration or just ancestral tribal behavior, they are gladiatorial.
Okay.
So they're encouraged basically to have a Hunger Games kind of
You know,
situation.
I love that. I think because, okay, and I know it's outplayed. You know, the Battle Royale games that are all a huge, still, I mean,
Super,
even for the past few years. What about having something, like you said, like a Hunger Games type thing? Mm-hmm. And everyone says, oh, Grassland, that sounds boring. There's like endless fields of grass. And just, but what would be there? You know, what is there? What are they hiding from? What are they working
Right.
towards? What are they doing? Obviously, farming would be a huge, because it'd be easy.
Right.
It'd be super easy.
Yeah. Yeah. In a grassland.
Agriculturally, that would make sense. But for these people, mode of transportation, horses would be a really big one.
Yeah.
But I think a fun, like, I want to try to do like twists on things, make it really like fantasy. What about like something like a cart with wheels, maybe like a sail, something that helps them move quickly through the grass. You know, like it would make a fun like enemy
like a grass sail, basically, is what you're saying.
right, like a sail ship, but on the ground.
Yeah.
Like make it real fantasy based where there's just like a lot of wind. Maybe it's very windy in these grasslands. This is just an idea, but like how fun would that be to have like a bunch of enemies come like swooping in, like these raiders that just fly in on these
On what looks like a boat.
looks like a
basically.
boat in the grass.
Yeah.
Like how crazy would your characters react to that?
Yeah.
I think of the fun trying to hijack one of these at high speed. It creates this like outer worldly like situation all of a sudden thrown on it because they don't expect that. They're traveling through the grasslands.
What came to my brain while you were talking about that was ice cubing.
Yeah.
You know, like down a grassy hill. So like some sort of like a slick surface wouldn't have to necessarily be wheels.
Well, grass when it's laid down a little bit. I mean, obviously, if the wind's blowing, it's already laying down in the direction you're
Right,
going.
right.
I could see this easily being a thing where people just zoom in on these things, and I don't think they're huge. I'm not talking about like a giant ship.
No,
that would be
no.
ridiculous. Something light and fast that one or two people could ride on.
Sort of like surfing.
Someone could control it. Someone else can shoot from it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it'd be cool to do something like that.
Just like a 2-man chariot with a sail that
but with
moves
a
across
sail.
the grass. Yeah.
You know, something sturdy.
It could be like magically lubricated or something.
Who knows? I feel like it would be fun.
In a robotocracy too, you could probably do something mechanically with it if you wanted to.
Definitely. I mean, even they could coat the bottom in steel.
Right.
What the heck is it going to do?
Right.
It's just going to hit the ground and just skid across the grass and ground. I mean, whatever.
Like Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen that scene, just look up Christmas Vacation
Toboggan.
sledding or toboggan. That was one of the best things ever. It's like a rocket. Anyway, yeah, I mean that's a tone, not a tone, like a stylistic thing.
That's an interesting, unique feature for sure.
We need more of those.
Yeah.
I feel like anyone could just create a world. I think we need fun little quirks about places, like we had with the mountain tribes coming down.
I wonder, like, would we have any kind of mounted? I mean, so like, there's a horse mount, but like, I wonder what other kind of mounts.
No, definitely. That's
that
kind of
you would
where I
find
was
in the
going from.
grasslands.
'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, like getting from place to place in the grasslands would be boring.
So
Making it fun.
a thought that I had while I was rolling them up was that, you know, the tribe that he's from specifically, maybe they worship some kind of reptilian.
you did mention, yeah.
So maybe they ride like giant lizards, or
much like in the Underdark, where the Drow have the
exactly,
giant lizards.
exactly, yeah, where they can run on like the walls and the ceilings and all that.
Well,
with
it's
their-
like in Utapau in Star Wars when there's that chase between
Yeah,
Grievous
yeah.
and Kenobi. I mean, it's definitely a a fun thing, you know, like
Yeah.
having these giant, like massive four-legged, you know, or six-legged lizards, something that's like bizarre that people capture. And maybe side quest, a possible thing here is to help capture one, or you know, help someone find an escaped one that's running rampant through a city. And I feel like cities would be very cool. They really don't need a lot of walls, maybe, or I mean, because you see them coming for miles.
I mean, you could even like Hobbit, you know, underground homes.
True. In the
And maybe
slight
that's
hills.
their defenses that you can't find them.
That'd be cool. In the tall grass.
Yeah.
Imagine the stealth missions in tall grass.
Yeah.
Maybe like there's a tribe of druids who are like so anti-veneration and the keepers or
Yeah.
whatever that they live in the tall grass and they move with the grass and they turn into creatures, and then when they attack they like shape shift into what they need to, and it's like rhinos suddenly trampling through the camp. I mean, it could be fun. I feel like, what would you feel like the feeling is there?
Well, I mean, do we want to establish like a main city, like a large main city?
I'm doing that now.
Or would it be more like smaller villages, you know?
I think in the Kingdom of Borin, down here, I think down there, like in that section right there, there could be a huge grasslands.
By Eithridge?
Yeah. So like pretty
On the
close.
on the south end there.
I would say east of that middle river there.
Okay.
Basically, you know, something that's in between.
So generally warm climate, maybe humid.
You could even say there's a lot of grass snakes. I mean, it's like trudging through there. I feel like good portions of it's a bit swampy.
Probably if you get
further
closer to the sea, maybe more swampy.
I feel like a swamp would be
Wetlands,
closer.
kind of a
definitely wetlands. Think of like Africa and in a big portion
Florida.
of Africa or Florida. You know, like there's those big open fields. There's lions, giraffes. I feel like this would be a good place.
Alligators.
Yeah, a good place for that.
Yeah.
Like it would feel very like kind of arid at times, but definitely it rains pretty heavily. Really weird looking trees, like Dr. Seuss looking trees. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In Africa where they have those really weird shaped trees.
Yeah, they've got the flat topped whatever they
I
are.
can't remember the names.
Yeah.
I used to know this, but each area I feel like should be significantly beautiful,
Yeah.
but also
Indescribable, notable type
because
of
it's
fashion.
fantasy.
Yeah.
You want the best of our world
Right.
to be exaggerated.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I mean that's fantasy. It's mundane lives of cubicle workers being, you know,
Magical.
mythical heroes. Exactly. Like,
It's magical.
all these greasy nerds like I'm casting it. You know, and there's nothing wrong with you guys. Just, I mean, truly, you're half of our fan base, and we appreciate it. No, man, I haven't showered in like a day and a half, so my kids won't let me live.
I ain't showered in weeks.
Mr. Tim, by the way, if you don't know what that is. No, I feel like that would be cool. That would be a really easy place to live in. I mean, not easy to live in, but like you said, gladiatorial.
Yeah.
I feel like in the center is a pit, and it's huge. I don't.
And these people encourage their youth to go fight.
Maybe that's like a very Spartan, like it's like a rite of passage to manhood. Is not like necessarily. Maybe it's not to the death, but the real big ones are like
Could be,
to
yeah,
the death.
yeah.
Like I feel like because that would kill a lot of their youth, like a lot. But maybe that's
Well,
what
yeah.
veneration wants.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if we want to say that veneration necessarily encouraged it, but maybe he altered it from what it was, you know, from their
about-
traditional methods.
Yeah, no, dude, seriously, that could be brilliant.
Veneration would be like,
Maybe they were
this
aggressors.
is awesome, but let's make them all to the death.
What if they were super like aggressors in the battles? Like maybe they're really strong. Their ideas of battle, like writing in on these things.
There's got to
could
be some kind of ridiculous reward. I mean, for them to have gone with it.
Well, no kidding. What about those? I mean, like for instance, with that, if it was to the death, he probably would like that. The council would probably like that because maybe they were super aggressors. Maybe there's a lot of half orc population and orc population that was just very warlike tribes that were just like, and I'm not talking about tribes. I'm talking about like, you know, like World of Warcraft, you know, Warcraft 3, you know, all those where the orc horde was like a extremely strong thing, and you know, obviously they could get pretty unruly. What if they were like that, and to keep them warlike and have their outlet, it could be suddenly turned to, you know what? You guys get a lot of fame if you're killing each other.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, yeah, I am in this, you know? Because you can't just stop a person from being what they are with fear. Something you have to redirect it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's any culture that's like this, you know, like that's warlike. This is an idea.
You probably need to reward them with a little bit more than fame too. Like maybe, I mean, obviously money and riches and power.
Well, true. And maybe there's, well, think about Hunger Games. On that note of Hunger Games, you read the books, didn't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know how they had those, what was it, like the Winner's Row or whatever? There's a row of houses, like mansions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What if there was...
like food for life and a home for you and your family,
and also
whatever.
Glory,
yeah,
like riches. Mm-hmm. Sure, why not?
Because basically, if you're unlimited wealth for the rest of your life.
And it would have to be pretty big. Which maybe there's like it's like a circle. I imagine the city is circle, much like an arena. Mm-hmm. It's reminiscent of the arena itself. The society is the arena. They just don't know it. What's the arena is obviously a totally separate thing. And I feel like magic could be used to form the land, to shape shift this land to be tundra in a city. It could be a wetland. It could be a mountainous region that they have to fight in. That the mages actually literally change the earth. Mm-hmm. Like evocation wizards and different people would use their magic on something so trivial as an arena,
right?
Which would be epic for your players to join in. I literally ran this type of arena on several occasions before you joined the group, which, you know, because you weren't here. Right. But I did it where I created an arena, and it was a society that was like this desert society. They're huge walls, massive walls, and I just thought this up because I was watching a lot of battle royale stuff, and I thought, how fun would it be to throw one of my groups into this? And I did, and it was a map that changed. Each year they had a new map, and it was a big event.
Okay.
And these players got invited to that arena to compete. There were 4 teams. No, there was like 6 teams of 4, and we had 4 in our group. Okay. And they had to compete against a group of dwarves from down south. There was a group of local heroes who won like every year. And everyone's like, but they don't get, it was kind of like Hunger Games where they get boons.
Right.
If they did certain feats or if they were extra bloody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like this would be perfect for that. I could copy paste what I've done before and put that there easily.
And this could easily
that would be my favorite place
starting
to go.
Point.
I would
for characters.
Probably start here if I was a DM.
Yeah.
Because how cool would it be to immediately be like, all right, you're going to work up to the arena.
Right.
Gain a few levels, schmooze some of the people, and be like, yeah, we deserve to be in that arena. Because heroes, you're better than everyone.
Right.
You are. Yeah, if you're a class and you're not just a commoner, you are better.
Yeah, within like 3 months, you put on 30 pounds of muscle and you can cast 1 million spells.
Exactly. I mean, even a few days.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're doing and fighting.
Right.
And so, like, imagine your heroes. Like, how fun would that be? Like, of course, veneration's going to be a problem, but they won't know about them.
Right.
They'll be episode 0. Maybe they'll be slaves, because that's what we talked about episode 0 being, like, kind of they're in prison. Maybe they will be like, you know what? In this year's arena, it's going to be in a jungle. And we need a lot of people that are just kind of there.
Fodder.
To just be interesting. To maybe kill a couple of the heroes that are coming, like the teams. Like, you're not even part of a team.
Right.
But what if you win? You know, like, how cool would that be? Because then all of a sudden you get this instant fame. I mean, it would be, like, pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know, I can imagine that being really fun. And maybe... they get invited back later in the campaign, and someone gets like an invitation saying, "We want you back for this this intense sea battle."
This other,
you know, like the island hopping, and there's obviously it's not huge, but it's big enough. There's like 4 islands, and there's like, you know, they're not very big, but there's a lot of sea battle going. You know, like you can create all these different scenarios. It doesn't have to be what we mentioned, but I feel like that would be a fun time. Like, why? Because everyone sees like this vast sea of nothingness. I'm talking about the grasslands.
Yeah.
And then you get to the city and it's like this vibrant warlike city that's like super focused on this arena that they're not even paying attention to the world. That
So
they
we're probably talking
were
about
part
maybe more town sized. Or would we want
I
to do
would want it
another
to be
like
huge.
25,000
was huge?
population or larger?
Yeah, because the farmlands easy.
Yeah.
You know, that would be no one likes that job.
Yeah.
But they have to, and they can make tons of. It's lush. You know, it rains a lot. You know what they? I just feel like if it was massive, think about how fun that would be. Like you go to the city and it's like Eman in Taldore, where it's just multi-sections.
It's like 6 miles wide or
It's
whatever.
huge.
Yeah.
And like, how fun would that be? The arena is massive. It takes up a good majority of the city.
Yeah.
And you know, people can watch. And I feel like mages could create like cast image of what's going on. They can see like not television, but in the sense that they can show a group of people that
Sort of like
the VIPs.
scrying
Yeah.
on a large bowl.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Some like body of water. I don't know. It would be fun to create something that was maybe a group of like VIPs get to watch.
Yeah.
And like the rest get to hear about it. And like bards tell the story for 6 months before the next one. You know, like
Right,
and
right.
it like they get like super excited. Bards, by the way, would be a really fun thing to be part of this city.
Definitely. Oh,
Warlike,
yeah.
but they're also storytellers of the heroes past. There could be a big section of the city with statues of heroes that have won for years, and once they're dead, they like the head gets toppled off. You know, like something barbaric, and then just broken or something. You know, like because then you'd see a bunch of heroes statues, and then you'd see a few with their that they went back to the arena and tried to show off and got killed. You know, I mean, this whole area could be it kind of creates itself.
Yeah, and I think that all kind of fits in with the dogma of the character that I drew up, because his argument was if I'm strong, I deserve whatever I want.
Maybe he wants to win. Maybe his dad won, or maybe he has won.
I kind of what I talked about with him was he ran away from home because he was going to be forced to fight somebody that he wasn't willing to fight.
Okay.
Could be a girlfriend, could be a best friend, whatever. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and that could create a cool story arc to get people to that city.
Yeah. Yep.
To be like, I don't want to go back there, but I can definitely show you the way there.
Right.
And then when he gets there, he gets forced in. He's with this group. You know, like, and it kind of naturally it's not railroading, but like it brings them onto a track that shows them this is what is available in this city.
Right.
You
right.
definitely want to check out this city. It's a lot of, if you like action, if your players like action, this would be a beautiful place to start.
Yeah.
Not a lot of mountains, definitely hills. There could be maybe a mine or something that's creates precious ores. I mean, I don't know, like
out of a grassland. I'm not sure what
there's not
typically
much.
occurs in that type of
not much at all.
scenario, but
maybe just like there's mountainous region to this like southeast.
Yeah.
And it's just
could be a bunch of rice paddies or
I could see this being very what if this was very like eastern?
yeah.
What if we switched it on its head and we changed it from like that to be a little bit more east, like I'm talking about east, like China, Japan, Korea, all this like Mongolia. Think about those.
Especially like when you're talking about like wetland areas, that's like perfect for a rice paddy.
Oh my gosh, I can see it already. Just the hills with rice paddies. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I kind of am leaning towards that myself. What do you feel about that?
Yeah. It definitely would change up the concept of the sailing.
Ooh, it'd be cool. Think about Japanese ships. I'm talking about like the sails,
like
and how
the
they
long
have
canoes with the sails.
Yeah, because then the sails would look kind of like that. They'd have like symbols on them. Ooh, geez, this looks as cool already. And maybe they're like amazing arcane archers that ride these things.
Yeah.
I mean, like gangs or something. And you don't want to you don't want to go out in the grasslands by yourself.
So the grasslands will have a little bit of flavor of the east in it.
Well, it's almost like sea sharks.
Maybe,
but like
maybe
not
the
sharks, but
barbarians
grass
are
sharks.
more monkish.
Ooh.
Even though they're barbarians, but
barbarian doesn't mean big burly man. With
right?
an axe.
Exactly.
It could be a guy with a daikatana.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's just like this warlord. I personally really, really love that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, I mean, I feel like we've even only covered 2 areas, but I think we should do this in the next one.
Yeah.
Like cover more, because this is for me shaping the world more than we have.
Right.
With just like a couple. I don't know about you. That's how I feel with it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I'm gonna get that stuff written down then.
Well, it's all been recorded at least.
Well, that is a definite plus.
Yeah.
Because I like to write it down. So obviously, people who are listening to our podcast get to hear it first, but
Yep.
Patreon will have the eventual final products, and then we're gonna also probably do some Kickstarter stuff to fund the actual book.
The printing.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, we are just tiny.
we want to print this material.
We want to make
eventually.
it. We want art. So if you're an artist that wants to get involved in stuff like that, let us know.
Yeah.
Show us some samples. I personally love fantasy art. I adore people that put in
We're big on
the
collaboration.
effort. Yeah, collaboration is something we want to do. So if there's
Yeah.
something you hear here and you're just like, you can imagine, you can see it, and your little artist mind is already looking for your oil, in your
Yeah.
in your paints and everything, then think about it. Let us know if you do digital art. Obviously, that would be a really easy thing. And if you're brand new, obviously we want to, we can talk to you more about that kind of thing. But we want to not just say your name. We
Right.
want you to be involved
Right.
as much as we can. Obviously we're tiny, but
Yeah.
we want to do more than just talk about stuff. We want to make stuff
Yeah.
with you. So
We actually want to create because we're artists. We're
That's what we
creators.
do.
That's what we do.
if a bunch of bards, whether you're art bard or a video bard or a music bard, whatever, talk to us.
Yeah.
We want to make something big that you can all be proud of, that we can create. And this is just one world.
Yeah.
This is just one idea
Yeah.
that we rolled.
Yeah.
We can do 1,000 of these. I mean,
Yeah.
we just want to make quality really fun to play. You just pick it up and you're like, let's do this. Because like when I pick up, I mean, like I love Tal'Dorei. I mean, obviously Critical Role, they're fantastic. They're really good storytellers, and obviously
yeah.
that's what they do.
Right.
They're freaking voice actors,
Right.
and Matt Mercer's he's really got a talent for storytelling. And some
yeah.
people disagree emphatically, like hate him, which I'm like, chill. It's jealousy. I
You're
think,
going
a
to
lot of
find
times.
polarity in anybody that does well.
Yeah, it's true. But I feel like as a whole, the reason why I like Tal'Dorei is the book is because he's picked it. Like you can pick up that book and read a couple chapters at the beginning
Yeah.
and then just start someone somewhere, and you feel like you could decently handle yourself because that's kind of what we want to do is mirror some of these really quality, fast-paced, you can just jump in books where you don't have to know the whole world.
Right.
Like, for instance, you didn't listen to Critical Role
No.
before you made the
Played a
campaign.
whole year in Tal'Dorei. I know.
We played a whole year in a month.
I listened to maybe 3 episodes. Yeah.
We didn't even leave him on. We started
Yeah.
outside and went in. That
Yeah.
was the year of our live stream. Not
Yeah.
live stream, our videos. And so, I mean, we want to make a book where you can just jump in and have fun
Yeah.
immediately. No tutorial levels that hold your hand. You just read the beginning. This is how the world is. Now go have fun.
Yeah.
Good luck. We want it to be hard.
Right.
I would say moderate to hard.
But yeah, we want to leave it open enough that you as a creator, as a DM, still have the ability to create whatever you want in the world.
And if you don't want to deal with veneration and what's going on, the
have
status
to.
quo, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't give a crap about the keepers. Obviously, they will be a role.
Yeah.
If you do some stuff, there will be a big repercussion, which could eventually draw your characters in.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to be like, you have to deal with this.
But even then, any DM could be like, "Oh, this is all 200 years after that."
Yeah.
Totally up to the
easy.
DM.
100%.
Yeah.
But they keep the grasslands.
Right. Exactly.
They keep the...
Keep the
tundra.
geography, the topography. It's,
Yeah, because we want that to be solid.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you can see these towns in your mind, you want to paint them. If you feel like there's certain characters that you can see standing over this lake town, standing over the grasslands, watching these sailboats go by on land.
Right.
If you see that in your mind and you want to create it, talk to me.
yeah, for real.
I'm not saying I can give you money right away. I'll just be straight with you right now. We don't have that
Yeah.
yet. But if this Kickstarter starts, trust me, we'll do whatever we can to help you because we love art. I mean, I have so much saved art from people, so I do it myself. So anyway, we've talked enough about everything. Let's definitely pick this up next time.
Yeah.
I love what we've
another one
done
of these, yeah.
already, so I hope you liked it too. Obviously, follow us. If this is in the future, you know where we're at. We're on all the podcast places. We're almost there. We just have a couple. Looks like we might have a couple weeks. We're trying to figure out some.
Yeah,
we're new to this.
We're dealing with our what do you call them? Not platform, but we're dealing with our distributor.
Anyway, so we appreciate you so much for listening. Anything else you can think of?
No, just thanks for being with us.
Yeah, seriously. We'll see you in episode 6, also 7. I mean, wait, it's all silence. but anyway, thank you very much, and may your rolls always be natural ones, just not natural ones. Talk to you later.